D-Day documentary. Warning: this documentary contains several topics that some may find upsetting, including that of the Holocaust. Chapter 1. What was World War II? World War II was a global conflict that started on the 1st of September 1939 when Nazi Germany invaded Poland, and the war ended on 2nd September 1945. This invasion pitted the Allies against the Axis powers. This war involved most of the world's major powers. The Allied powers included countries such as Britain, France, the Soviet Union and the United States, whilst the Axis powers included countries such as Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy and Imperial Japan. This war was one of the most deadliest wars in history, resulting in deaths of 70 to 85 million, many of whom were civilians. The war saw many major conflicts in Europe and the Pacific. Some of these conflicts included the Battle of Stalingrad, the Battle of Midway, D-Day, and another key event of World War II was the Holocaust. This was an act of genocide against the Jewish people who lived in European countries under Nazi Germany rule. This act of genocide started in 1933 and it ended in 1945 after the Allies liberated Europe. During the Holocaust, the Nazi SS group killed 6 million Jews. Chapter 2. When did Europe fall to the Nazi regime? Europe's fall to the Nazi regime wasn't a single event, but it was a process that began with Hitler's rise to power in Germany in 1933 and continued through the early years of World War II. By 1940, Germany had conquered most of Western Europe, leaving only Great Britain outside their control. There are major key events which played into the fall of Europe. These events include Hitler becoming Chancellor of Germany in 1933, marking the beginning of the Nazi era. The Munich Agreement of 1938 allows Germany to annex the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia, a sign of its expanding influence. The Nazi invasion of Poland in 1939, which triggers the Second World War. In 1940, Germany swiftly conquers Denmark, Norway, Luxembourg, Belgium and the Netherlands. In June of 1940, Germany defeated France, leading to the establishment of the Vichy France, an occupation of the northern part of the country. From 1940 to 1941, Germany's campaign in Europe was largely successful, but the British, protected by the Royal Navy and air power, continued fighting. In 1941, Germany invaded the Soviet Union, marking the turning point during the war. Chapter 3. What was D-Day? D-Day, or the Normandy landings, was an Allied invasion of France on June 6, 1944. This was the largest seaborne invasion in history, marking the beginning of the liberation of France and Western Europe from Nazi occupation. It was the first day of Operation Overlord, the Allied effort to liberate Europe. D-Day was originally scheduled for the 5th of June, but it got delayed for 24 hours due to unfavourable weather conditions. A storm was predicted for the 5th of June, meaning that the Allied troops wouldn't have any aerial bombing due to it being too cloudy, and it was also too windy for the landing craft to disembark. While initially disappointed, Allied leaders, including General Eisenhower, decided to proceed with the invasion on June 6th, based on a temporary improvement in the weather forecast. D-Day was the first day of a massive amphibious operation called Operation Overlord, which involved a vast cross-channel attack by the United Kingdom, the United States and their allies. The Allied forces landed on 5 beaches in Normandy, France, with the first wave facing significant German defences. Along with the beach landings, there were extensive airborne operations to secure the flanks of the invasion. Chapter 4. Operation Gambit. Operation Gambit is an often overlooked component of the D-Day landings. This mission involved the use of the British X-class submarines to guide the Allied invasion forces to the Normandy beaches. The bravery and precision of the submarines involved in Operation Gambit ensured the success of one of the most significant military operations in history. The primary objective of Operation Gambit was to mark the eastern and western boundaries of the 5 landing beaches: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno and Sword. It was accomplished by using 2 X-class midget submarines, HMS X-20 and HMS X-23. These submarines were to position themselves off the coast of Normandy and act as a navigational beacon for the incoming invasion fleet. Preparation for Operation Gambit began months before D-Day. The X-class submarines, originally designed for attacks on enemy battleships, were adapted for this special mission. The submarines were equipped with a range of navigational aids, including sonar and radar reflectors, to ensure they could maintain their positions accurately. HMS X-23, commanded by Lieutenant K.R. Hudspeth. X-20 was tasked with marking the eastern flank of Saul Beach. HMS X-23, commanded by Lieutenant George Honor. X-23 was responsible for marking the western flank of Juno Beach. The submarines were towed by larger vessels, known as motherships, to converse their limited range and ensure they would reach their positions unprotected. On June 3, 1944, the X-class submarines were towed from the bases in the UK to a point near the French coast. The motherships released the submarines on June 4th, allowing them to navigate the final leg of their journey independently. On the night of June 4 to 5, HMS X-20 and HMS X-23 reached their designated positions off the coast of Normandy. For the next 48 hours, the submarines remained submerged during the daylight hours to avoid detection. They surfaced periodically at night to take navigational fixes and ensure they remained in the correct positions. As dawn broke on June 6th, the submarines surfaced and extended their periscopes, which were fitted with lights and radar reflectors. These visual markers were crucial for the navigation of the Allied invasion fleet, helping them guide them to the correct landing zones on the heavily defended beaches. The successful execution of Operation Gambit had several significant impacts on the D-Day landings. The periscope markers provided by X-20 and X-23 ensured the invasion fleet could navigate accurately. Its accuracy was vital for the coordinated landings across the 5 beaches. By guiding the invasion fleet to the correct locations, the submarines helped minimize the risk of vessels landing on heavily fortified sections of the coast, thereby reducing potential casualties. The submarines' positions were critical for precise timing and coordination of the landings. The success of the overall operation relied heavily on the fleet arriving at the right place at the right time. Chapter 5. Day 1. We started our trip at Ranville Cemetery. This cemetery is dedicated to the Commonwealth soldiers who died during the Battle of Normandy. It's a particularly potent site as Ranville was the first village to be liberated on D-Day, with many of the 6th Airborne Division's casualties buried here. The cemetery contains 2,566 total burials. We then moved on to Pegasus Bridge. The taking of this bridge was important in the early stages of D-Day. The bridge was captured by the British airborne troops shortly after midnight on June 6, 1944. The bridge was critical for securing the eastern flank of the Allied landing zone at Saul Beach and preventing German counter-attacks. The mission was carried out by the 6th Airborne Division of the British Army. The troops were transported in 6 gliders towed by Halifax bombers to their landing zones in the bridge. We then moved on to Pegasus Memorial Museum. Inside the museum they had helmets, guns, vehicles, a diorama of the Battle of Pegasus Bridge, and outside they had a replica glider. After, we went down to Saul Beach where we saw a bunker which is now part of a set of flats and a memorial to Piper Bill Millens. Saul Beach was assaulted by the British 3rd Infantry Division. Saul Beach was a part of the Allied effort to secure a bridgehead in Normandy and to protect the left flank. Once we left Saul Beach, we made our way to Juno Beach where there's a tank by the beach remembering the soldiers who gave their lives attacking the beach during D-Day. Juno was one of the 5 key landing sites during D-Day. It was the second beach from the east and was primarily defended by the Canadian 3rd Infantry Division. The Canadians faced heavy fighting, including delays due to rough sea conditions and German defences. Despite the initial difficulties, they managed to break through the defences and secure a foothold on the beach. After we left Juno Beach, we went to the British Normandy War Memorial. This memorial commemorates 22,442 individuals who died under British command during the D-Day landings and the Battle of Normandy. After we left the Normandy Memorial, we made our way to Gull Beach, which was another major beach used during the D-Day landings, and it was taken by the British forces on the 6th of June. The British 5th Northumbrian Infantry Division led the assault on Gull Beach, a 5-mile stretch of coastline between La Riviere and La Hamel. The objectives of the British at Gold Beach were to capture Baia and Khan Baia roads and to link up with the Americans at Omaha Beach. After Gold Beach was taken, Mulberry Harbour B was built. This was designed quickly after D-Day so that troops, vehicles and supplies could be delivered to the Allies. Chapter 6, Day 2. We started our day at the Normandy American Cemetery. This World War II cemetery in France contains the graves of nearly 4,000 war dead and nearly 1,600 names on the walls of the missing. After we left the cemetery, we headed off to the Overlord Museum. Inside the museum they had vehicles, weapons and uniforms. After we left the Overlord Museum, we went to Omaha Beach. When we were at Omaha Beach, we saw 2 machine gun posts and a memorial to the American soldiers who gave their lives fighting on the beach. This beach was one of the 5 landing sites during D-Day. It's known for being the most heavily defended of the assault areas, resulting in high casualties. The beach was codenamed Omaha after a city in Nebraska and was characterized by its rugged terrain and strong German defenses. Omaha was heavily defended with bunkers, machine gun nests, artillery, minefields and barbed wire, making it a formidable target for Allied forces. The beach's terrain included bluffs, cliffs and narrow valleys, making it difficult for Allied troops to advance inland. Due to the intense German gunfire and changing terrain, Omaha Beach suffered the highest number of Allied casualties of any of the D-Day landing beaches. After we left Omaha, we went down to Utah Beach. Whilst we were at the beach, we found 2 bunkers with old MG gun placements not too far from the beach itself. We also saw a memorial representing the troops coming off the landing craft, along with airborne troops who secured key causeways inland. While casualties were significant, including those from the airborne divisions, the landing at Utah was relatively successful compared to Omaha, which experienced higher casualties. We then went to Lacaine German War Cemetery, where 80,000 German soldiers are buried in Normandy. After we left the German War Cemetery, we went to Baia War Cemetery, and there are 4,258 identified casualties at the cemetery. Chapter 7, Day 3, Final Day. We started our 3rd and final day at the 49th West Riding Division Memorial. This memorial was placed in memory of those from the division who died during the campaign of 1944 to 1945 in Northwest Europe. This division was engaged in bitter fighting during the Battle of Normandy from June to August 1944. After we left the 49th West Riding Division Memorial, we went to the 15th Scottish Division Memorial. This memorial commemorates the division's actions during World War II, particularly in Normandy. After leaving the memorial, we went to Hill 112 Memorial, Coat Memorial 112, and the 43rd Wessex Division Memorial. After we left those memorials, we went to the Canadian Battlefield Foundation. During World War II, this area was known as Falay's Pocket. This is where Allied forces encircled and destroyed a significant portion of the German army. British, Canadian and American troops participated in its encirclement. After we left the Battlefield Foundation, we went to Montemel Memorial Museum. This memorial museum has 2 tanks and a plaque commemorating what this historic site was used for. After we left the memorial museum, we headed down to a German Tiger tank that was abandoned during the war with information about what happened to the tank.